Boundaries. What is a boundary? Some people will tell you a boundary is an essential tool in protecting yourself. Other people will tell you a boundary is something we use to keep us from looking at something that would be constructive to look at. Different people will tell you having boundaries is akin to spiritual bypassing. All interesting points of view, but what is it for you? I can see how what is intended as a boundary could fall into any of the categories I mentioned. A boundary could become a great way to protect myself from something I perceive as being dangerous. A boundary could be a great way for me to justify not looking at an area of life which requires my attention. A boundary could become a great way to build a bubble around me so that I avoid having to do any work on myself. So, if a boundary can be all of these things, how do we know if our boundaries are beneficial or not? Well, a well-established boundary is like the cabin of an aeroplane. At first glance, it may look like it's stopping us from walking beyond it and onto the clouds. But when we look a little closer, we can see that the cabin of the aeroplane is what is keeping us in the air. Without it, we would not be flying. A poorly established boundary, by comparison, is like wearing cement boots. We feel heavier with them, as though we could be experiencing so much more without it. However, with it being so common for us to fear our own magnificence, we can often feel safer with the concrete boots on, when they're stopping us from running as fast as we possibly could and experiencing all that life has to give. Some people get quite familiar with their concrete boots. Now, there exist some boundaries which we have not chosen for ourselves, and these can feel even more ingrained and even more like just the way it is. Maybe it's a boundary we saw from parents or caregivers when we were younger. Maybe it was given to us as part of our educational process. The questions are, where do you have boundaries which you feel are holding you back? Were these boundaries chosen for you or by you? Do these boundaries serve you? Could you choose to establish a new, more constructive boundary? How does your life change if you do this? How does your life stagnate or even retract if you do not do this? How free are you going to be today? How limitless will your experience of life be? How much can you embrace the experience of experiencing?